Welcome to my channel. I wanted to do a quick painting. I like the time lapse, makes it a little bit more engaging for people to watch. I wanted to talk about how to improve your painting and drawing and sketching as well. The most effective way that I've found, at least outside of proper classroom studies, but I think it's one big secret that that you can do yourself outside of a more formal education that people maybe take for granted. And I will get to that, but first I want to walk you through a little bit of what I did here in this painting. This is watercolor. It's only a small sheet, and it's very lightweight paper that I'm using, so really this is just a sketch and play, but that kind of goes hand in hand with improving, is doing little things that can push your skill just a little bit further, and each time you gain a little bit of knowledge, and you'll see at the end I make some pretty goofy mistakes, but so far I've just set up the watercolor board, sketched out the rough idea of the drawing that I had in mind, and then honestly taking a lot of time to set up, making sure the palette's a little bit clear. Kind of planning out the first major wash colors that I see in the reference photo. I think one of the biggest things with watercolor is very much planning. Like you don't have to plan, but the more you do plan, and the more you at least have a reasonable idea of what your steps are towards whatever your planned goal is, just the easier it gets. Because once you get water on the paper, once things start changing and drying and blending into each other, things start to move really fast. So in the beginning there, it took a lot of time to set up. But really, the painting time itself, not that long. It's, well, there's a lot of drying time once you have the paper saturated like this. Pretty much just finding my major shapes where I need to get major patches of wash in, and then I'm just going to leave it alone and let the paper dry completely. This is one of the hardest things for me to learn getting into watercolor was just being patient enough to let paper dry where it needed to take the time, pretty much. Another watercolor artist I like to follow lays out more of a three-step plan where you start with your main wash, pretty general. You let that dry completely, go over it again, let that dry completely, and then go over it a last time. So you're really trying to not rush it and get everything in the first time. And the more of these kind of littler paintings you do, the more you realize you can make a lot of adjustments throughout the whole process that you wouldn't necessarily have thought you could. So it's really a big game of patience. And it's funny too, the things in the painting that I thought would end up being one thing that kind of turned into other things. The reference doesn't have, say, some of the background in this that I was referencing kind of just turned into something else, and I thought it still kind of looked appropriate, so I left it. I think it looked better. Anyway, so that big secret about just improving, I really think that you definitely need to spend time learning from people smarter than you. You want to get with other artists in some fashion. Share your work with people you trust. Find people who are smarter than you, who can critique you, and then also just have a base of peers who you can paint together with, draw together with, learn from, challenge each other. Those are all really, really important. But that first step really is just spending time doing what you want to get better at. You don't necessarily realize that, which is silly, but even if you got to make a bunch of bad paintings, you just got to make a bunch of bad paintings if you want to get better. I wouldn't say this is good, but all if it's fun, you do it, you get better, and over time you're going to see that progress. It's a quantity over quality um, kind of plan of improving that 1% better each time. Find the little thing that you like, try and figure out how to foster it, make it better, and then next time you incorporate whatever you learned into the next series of paintings. And if you look over, a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months, you're going to see a huge improvement if you just do a little something each day. It's like you don't have to go crazy and make a big old painting, because probably most people don't have the time to do that. And that's one of the reasons I like watercolor so much. I mean, it's really cheap to get into. You can make little tiny watercolor cards and just do little sketches. Learn how the colors work together. You can practice getting color schemes of a particular environment that catches your eye artistically. And then all of that practice goes together. And eventually you build up a skill set where you can kind of look at a scene that you might want to paint, pick out the major colors, and work at formulating a plan to go ahead. Paint what you see, because you've taken the time to develop some of those tools that you need to actually do that. I think so many people think that the creative process is just that it's not anything more than having some innate skill, but it's absolutely not true. You need a lot of tools and a lot of practice along the way so that the vision you have in your head you can transform into something that's real on paper. And it's tough. That would be my number one secret to improving is to start there. Start with make a drawing or painting every single day, even if it's 5 minutes. Do something to activate that particular skill for that day. My favorite is when the kids are watching TV. You just kind of sketch them looking all goofy. I'm not sure where this painting got away from me, but it definitely got away from me. You get to a point where you just start making lines and movements that that you don't need to make. Taking off the tape, my favorite step for some weird reason. Just having those nice lines at the end, nice little border. I should have stopped before I added the weird black lines. Definitely should have stopped before that. It was certainly better before I did that. I did not plan on making it so dark in those weird areas, but there you go. It's fun to play around, have some fun. I would encourage you to do the same thing. Make a bunch of paintings, many as you can. Have fun.